Let's go ahead and talk about the Rays, who have, a legitimate team as much as they had last year. Last year, they were projected 84 and a half wins. They finished with 96. Pathag says they should have won 93. They are projected at Vegas at 89 and a half. Sean, you have them at 89. So they're going to contender here. More than likely going to end up in the wild card if they can get a secure spot there. Probably not catch the Yankees. But this is a team that we like to contend and make it to the playoffs, right?
Yeah, this is the team I have the fewest questions or concerns about, honestly. Even less so than the Yankees, because I feel like a few injuries on the Yankees and you could really knock them down a peg. But the Rays have so much depth, so much 40-man roster depth. They can sustain virtually any injury. Even a Sneller Glasnow, they have plenty of starters who can come in and fill out. This is the most rock solid year-to-year defensive team in baseball. They were plus 52 last year, third in the AL. They were plus 57 in 2018, first in the AL. They were plus 88 in 2017. That was first in baseball. They're third in bullpen WAR. They deploy their bullpen probably as well or better strategically than any other team. Look at their AAA roster and tell me that team wouldn't play better than the Orioles over the course of a full season. Their AAA roster is absolutely loaded. Randy Arozarena, like Jalen Beeks, these guys can't even get on their big league roster right now, and that's with 26 guys. And then on top of that, they have one of the top farm systems in baseball. They have 7 top 100 prospects. Wander Franco, who's their top prospect, is probably already better at shortstop than Willy Adames. You're unlikely to see many of those guys, maybe McKay and Brett Honeywell this year. But again, that's 2 more starters that you can figure into their starter depth. They have like 9 or 10 viable starters. It's kind of crazy. So their outfield, they shuffled it up a little bit from last year. They got rid of Tommy Pham. They brought in Manny Margot and Hunter Renfroe in separate trades from the Padres. And the signing that they got rid of their closer, Emilio Pagan, but they have, again, plenty of relievers to fill in that depth. My favorite signing and the addition that I think could be humongous for them is Yoshitomo Satsugo. He was Japan's cleanup hitter. He was the best power threat in NPB. Walks a ton, over 100 walks a year. Great on base ability, all fields power. Like, there's no way to quantify how a guy is going to perform coming over from the Japanese league, especially a hitter. But we've seen what Ohtani's done, and Satsugo was on his level in terms of hitting, not in terms of contact ability. But certainly in terms of power, far surpasses Ohtani, and his eye is rock solid and maybe his best tool. So you have a potential star that you sign for cheap who wants to play for you in Yoshitomo Satsugo, and he could be a difference maker in helping close the gap against the Yankees.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. And then there's, the Rays are so well managed. They have their own system, and Kevin Cash likes to move his lineup around. They do have a glut of outfielders with the Margot signing. And Margot, it seems like in the last couple of years, I always pick him up in fantasy around July. It seems like he starts hitting and starts stealing bases in the second half of the season. But, I mean, they have quality players on the bench, quality players in AAA. They're loaded. They can take a loss at pitcher, a Tyler Glasnow or, Charlie Morton or a Blake Snell injury, and they could just keep on going. And, it's just the way that their organization works, and you can make fun of them for having the ugliest turf and the ugliest roof and only having $13 tickets and a Stingray in the tank in the outfield. But I mean, they're a fantastic team and organization to watch. And they're if everything goes down for the Yankees, and this is definitely the team that you want to watch. But yeah, I completely agree with you here. So are we going to make a bet on these guys? I mean, our projection is pretty close to what their win total is, but is there something that may be a little bit inflated?
So I had the Rays futures last year. I had them a little bit divisional, I think 10-1, a little bit World Series. I think there's value in betting them to win the AL East. I have them, I believe, around plus 400, which is implied 20%. You can get them as high as plus 700 in the market, which is implied 12.5%. So it's about a 7.5% gap in terms of an edge. Just thinking about it, in reality, though, I'm hesitant because this Yankees team is so good. I just happen to see value, and I love this Rays team. It's just I'm wondering if I'm going to be ripping up that ticket at the end of the year, wondering why I ever bet it, because the Yankees won 118 games. So that's the only place this hesitancy stems from, is just the Yankees being so good.
Right. Absolutely. But there's always that team, the Minnesota Twins of the world, and there's always teams that completely overperform, and there's some teams that have injuries that you didn't see coming from a mile away. So we'll
And
see
the
what happens
Paxton
with.
injury certainly feeds into that. The Yankees are already one man down. You take Stanton out of that lineup, and how far apart are the two teams at that point?
Yeah, I mean, this is the opposite of the way I feel about the pitching coach situation with the Yankees is the opposite way that I feel about the Rays here. So certainly with an inflated number in the Rays to win the division, I mean, at some point you've got to say, well, that's just too much. And I've got to take a piece here because you never know what's going to happen.